Vítám vás na generačním zápase tady na Twitchi i na YouTube samozřejmě. Pravděpodobně. Tuhle ty dva týmy měly být jedni z nejlepších v Evropě. A je to hlavně Derkeho starý tým, oborují, co Derke hraje proti Boasters. 6-3 split. Taking they made that call as well. Even for Sivov, he's not safe. FNATIC, they've got credits. They're going to go pushing forward, and more so than credits, they've got confidence. Kayak certainly does 13 and 5. Had a great game so far. Looks deep for the kill off of his flash. Ends up making it out alive. But it's the fact they're not waiting for that aggression. It's a B main spot and mid where they still had numbers. They can't show Kayak. Looking for a little more as well. There's an opportunity for Sivov. 12-2 Boaster. Kámoš, letos 30 let pokud se nepletu. To je démon. Jo! Nedá toho týpka v mainu, že ne? Ty vole, co to je? Co jsem to zapl? To je absolutní goat. What the fuck? Booster doubters, booster haters, teď co? Co? Kde jsou? Big push by Vitality. They don't commit it though. It's half committed. Derke even caught with his knife out. Luckily kicks filled back into space. It covers his retreat. A double pickup. They know that Boaster is coming from B main. They've certainly heard the steps now confirming the rotate didn't come through unless again from up in heaven. Who's surprised? Boaster might be having the best half of his life. 14 nejstarší trik in the book. Dělám to, kamo, v první hry splitu, vole, 2 měsíce na gameku, težo. A Blood hraje eventu, když mají težo ultinu. Jo, my student.
Gamble that you can rotate out fast enough, or just hope they leave a gap.
Na bindu hrál lampy,
want to give up that fence control completely because then your opponent can walk up on you.
And even if they don't, just putting a cage for your heaven is going to leave you with doubts in your A heaven for the rest of the round. So it's just not a good idea to leave it open. I agree, but there's the risk.
Když nás pozdravím, až bude halftime a bude pauza minutová. Marek to možná dnešní zápasy oba dva. To byl dobrý na YouTube, tohle prostě je poprvé, co hraje Derke proti Boasterovi za ever. A Boaster má 16 killů.
But getting across with the spike is another challenge. Kayak's back up in heaven.
Odkdy?
Almost takes safe out the shot, whizzing past his ear. 15 seconds. Last round, no time to save. He's got to swing in, but that means crossing the operator of Kayak. And he's hit the shot anyways. Already 3 under his belt. The nade through, not going to deny. The blast pack won't do it either. Safe's gotten away with it. The salvos. It's a bold
geometrie, mistři. 2 mistři geometrie. Se kterým se vidíme zítra na natáčení a před půl hodinkou ani ne. Jsem post nové Reelscope pro EP z Valorantu.
There is a walk up in the meantime coming into B main. It looks, however, like the defense have decided to play this almost as a full retake. 4 players gathered up in towards that corner.
Yeah.
Fokus.
They're going to come blitzing through. Late play by Crashies has been spotted.
Crashies 3-9? Ne, to je Derke 3-9.
So easy tucked in the corner, but the
Boaster, kámo, zase. Boaster. Já už nemůžu, kámo, Boaster 7-4. Já s ním. Já už nemůžu. Má za divnou tečku ten les. Mi nelíbí moc. To se mi nelíbí vůbec, kámo, to tečka. Nevím, kámo. Já FNATIC bych nefandit, nedopičej. Mám rád Derkeho a je Vitality, ale kámo, všechno to spoukne. Dobrý double píči!
A continuing trend.
Pardon,
does mean, I was going to say, there's not the best of purchases, but that's not the start they were looking for.
Jak jako 4 stupně, nebo 0 až 4, no. To je crazy work. Come on. Díky za nic. Legit. Plusil jsem si na monitor z toho.
He does have himself the gate crash, at least for now.
Čau, radím. Nic, no až květen prostě, Pablo. Jakože květen je až jako jistotka. Na květen se dá spolehnout, že jako si zabejčíš s hezkým počasím, ale duben, jak se říká, aprílové počasí.
For this A push, 3 players in position. You've got to get through Les's setup as well, and if one goes down, he'll have that information off the back of his ultimate, the neural theft. But look at where Boaster is, still sitting outside that B site. We could easily see a wrap back through the vents to try to beat him, and the only man that could stop them would be Safe. So his hold up in heaven, and that's exactly what's happening. Safe's hold is so important here. He's just missed Boaster, stepping through that angle. He might catch him here.
Bonus, by the way.
He's being caught instead.
Díky bohu. A Boaster si prostě vyjde Bčko proti bonusu, ale co ne. Actually, ty říkám, že Safe má nervy jako svině. Je tady tohle provedl.
This position is having Safe potentially be able to cut them off on the rotation. Maybe going down, it is just a yellow brick road all the way back to the B side. Still with a lurk left in middle, so something that has to be wary from the defense.
Bude jí teda taky den? Já nevím.
Oh, that was close. Just off by a little, and that would have really bridged the gap for Vitality. Chronicle hasn't been spotted. Taking a leaf out of Les's book.
Energie, dal jsem si Medmonk. Teďka GG lomeno.
But also gets Chronicle to make his play. The dagger in the back, and now they don't know how they can go forward. Constantly worried about that backstab. Les, one to swing out first, does damage to Chronicle.
Včera, až šel jsem spát sezónou sem, kámo, nevím. Stával jsem přitom, by the way, jsem dneska stával v 10 ráno. Nice. A jako expensive bonus.
Although it's a classic buy at full eco for the squad. How things have been going. Should be a Vitality clean up.
Co to je?
They're losing a lot of players to classics. This is an obscure angle. I don't think I've ever seen a scope that far zoomed in on something. I feel like that's like when someone has to read with like a magnifying glass. Like you're a little bit too close to that one.
Ale kámo, když byl sub, tak bych si zasmál.
Spike found. Know where that's going to be, and unfortunately any lurks, any sneaky plays are getting picked apart. Yeah, I know for a fact that Derka for a moment was like, I'll knife him, and then realized
to bylo strašný Roxan. To taky jako YouTube adept. YouTube content adept. 10-0 na 11-13. Ty krávo. To bylo šílený.
It's got 2 barrels. Alfier, he's walking
za kolik tričko a kde?
Was there. I don't think he'd expect Sivov to be in position either
that way. And honestly, I'm okay with it.
I can understand it. Yeah, you play the retake if needed.
Rozdávají jako ty ikonky, kámo. Proč rozdávají tolik ikonek? Jako klidně ti rozdávají. Ať rozdávají hodně ikonek za to, že něco uděláte, ale proč nedají streamerů? Víc ikonek do píči, vole. 12, 112, kolik? 13? Jedna ikonka.
They'll be here on time to potentially disrupt that plan, depending on utility. And with 12 seconds,
that's
not ideal. In comes the Armageddon, 10 seconds on the clock. We're down to the last chance. The plant needs to be stuck. If they can interrupt, they can change the game, but they're not there on time. And the full stick is cancelled! A huge piece of utility. Kicks may have made a mistake with that very same util before, but this time...
Intelligent player when it comes to this initiator. 9-9, scoreline equalized. Weaponry now a bit of an issue. Ultimates
si prostě, že si na customkách zkoušíš aftershocky, píčovinky a pak ne, kamo.
So incredibly awkward. Back they go towards the A site. Derka homed in with the sniper bar. He gets taken out by Alfia. You mentioned that rifle, it's still in hand again. They need to cross to the side, and they just about spot out Safe in the last second. Alfia's revenge from what was that previous half.
Dostat 2-0 od nejpravděpodobně tomu nejhoršímu týmu. To je 4v3, co to je?
Showstopper, even just to buy that extra time, but as soon as it's fired off, they know they've got an opportunity capitalizing on it. Rolling Thunder goes through to the backside, heavy pressure, put on these players now, mostly stuck here. Boaster's playing post-plant, but you can't run down that much time with the stars. He needs to pick off a few, and in fact, they're even blocking the star. As the Grabwell comes in, trying to get that little bit of extra space, and although it won't work out,
nemůže vyhrát do prdele. Po celý život s obojím. můžu z mé zkušenosti říci, že jako toto je co? Co chtěl Luci včera. Nemluv. Víš, že to říkám. Přineseš žrádlo. Přineseš žrádlo psovi. Bezže. To je borec. To ten je tak skvělej, ale že mě nakrmí. Přineseš žrádlo kočce a kočka. Já jsem tak skvělá, že mě nakrmí.
Not when Vitality are flooding back in. It feels like there's a couple rounds now where we've
used to him go back a year or two, just first man in taking battles, but I think his salvos have been so disruptive. A good start though, that's less down, and a lot of the time that's a solo anchor. You can see Alfie is going to try make a move off of it. The stun is perfect. The supportive util for a Boaster, and then the swing from Kayak. Be the Armageddon. Something they're definitely wary of. I'm a bit nervous now. Getting into the remaining 25 seconds. Off the top goes Alfie.
Ten byl strašně důležitý, kámo.
Exactly what he finds. He actually had the spike as well. They sent that through over the top for him to get that far.
Už držte hubu, kámo.
That's exactly what he's done. A man advantage.
Tím myslím, aby FNATIC, kámo, přestali overpeakovat.
Yeah, they're looking to commit to this. Understandable indeed. You've highlighted there. Crashes late play through mid. And it's going to be off Chronicles contact as they move up through heaven.
Mám ještě radši než ten normální plan na heaven.
Spot the info. Allow Crashes to come up and capitalize. In goes the stun. And the backside push commences 5 seconds until salvos. Can't wait for them. It's time to take ground here and now. FNATIC need this round and Alpha seems content to lock it in with kicks down. They might almost retreat. The time is too far gone. They've caught Crashes, sure, but it's a consolation prize.
Split O2 z Haven. Kdyby to došlo na Haven, tak by to bylo totální cinema, protože Derke skopíroval ten jejich kom.
Traps outside A and seeing what happens, but Chronicles moving away from
that
A side. They're not going to be watching it at all as they now look to late commit to mid control and take over a little bit of B main. Previously, it's been battles up against Sivov, if any, but now the op being there caught them by surprise, and in a round like this, that's exactly what you wanted. Opening pick and FNATIC on the back foot.
Space taken though. Wow. A little bit cheeky from Boaster, looking to try and take the rounds into his own hands. I don't think Dirk is going to be forgetting about that one anytime soon. Kicks to respond. Aftershock to try and delay, but Chronicles already on the other side of it. Doesn't expect anybody else to be that close. Back to level 10 again. Safe looking to go through the additional utility just for someone to try and hit that cross, and now just happy to take that man advantage.
Má ultinu, kámo. To je škoda, kámo, že ani nehrajou asi, či?
Kayak grabs one after the plant, but the reposition needed, the steps heard, and Sivov on his trail. Utility that's in play for Vitality, minus the drone now, could easily clear that back out, so I don't mind FNATIC not going barriers up, get in, take the site, because the reaction could still be there, but late on, that's exactly what the play is going to be. Leaving the pit late into mid, fired up into heaven was the showstopper, but it won't land value, not in the form of a kill, but it's done damage, and it's sent Vitality into a deeper hold, but now, they're seemingly looking to retake that space. Kicks inside of Utilities, pushing forward alongside his teammate Sivov. They don't want to relinquish control, and that could be their biggest mistake. Alpha popping off with players soon to emerge from that smoke.
That was the second one placed, but the time on it is ticking. This is so many enemies to try and find, and Alfia just isn't stopping. We are a long, long day. Chronicle is in trouble. He's tried these aggressive positions. A lot of times the salvos were utilized in towards the vents. He tries to play in front of the vents and they use it in front instead.
He's, again, those early fights on the attack. Didn't matter if he was first, second, or third. It felt like their bullets were just magnetized to his body. But this time around, it's Utility that does him in, grabbing him in that tight position and not letting him go. Vitality moved to the A site. Got Crashes and Kayak holding the line, and Crashes has done pretty well, usually in a bit more of a passive spot, and I think that would be because you have Kayak in play. The trap had caught it. Crashes doesn't know there's players right around this corner, the entire team, in fact, coming his way, and that cage perfectly blocks what could have been a one and done, or at least a chance to get out. The gate crash moving to backside.
On the other side, there's
three players
they gambled in completely the wrong direction. They gate crashed away from this position. So now he has tried to delay. He's utilized whatever he can Now it just comes down to, can he hold on to this backside? Can he take somebody with him? Otherwise, this retake's going to be incredibly difficult. But he steps up when needed. A third kill for Crashies. He was left on an island, but somehow he has survived. This puts that timer, that clock on. Les already is the last man standing. Well, Crashies. Those salvos available, timing is going to be everything for them. 20 seconds left on the clock. He's now got kicks alongside, and that's it. He has bought them extra time.
Seconds. They pick Derka. Still 2 on the side, though. Do they have the read? Kicks finds 1, and from the smoke comes safe. 6 seconds. Plant needs to be found, but first you gotta find Kicks.
Bolest. Ale však kdyby trochu stepapl, tak už tam pinká ti říkám.
The first death will be avoided. He's the one to pick off Derka. Big one to find as well. Vitality, though, they're gonna stay strong in their play towards this A site, moving up into heaven. He said Kayak. Playing that little deeper,
jo, určitě, Pablo. Hlavně v těch entry. Jakoby on neumí dávat entry, ten klik, to je crazy. To je crazy work. Má prostě 7 ku 20 na entry.
The seas as well, and Kayak gives his position away, but it's well worth it. Landing himself the pick. And they know there's still one in heaven. Sivop down low. TP, he won't get away. Oh, he will! Barely avoiding those shots in the smoke down to cover his retreat. No, he will not make it to sight though. The spam through that smoke picks him off. And leaves one player less. Good in the clutch, but no time to even plant the spike. This round is done. And it falls in favor of Fnatic.
Aleš, jako Aleš Bayer.
It's going to be difficult to hold on to. Obviously trying to bait him out with the teleport back, but the fake smoke works out in Derka's favor. That's Crashies down already.
Alešek je jakoby na pokraji tým lesu, chápeš? Nebo takhle. Všichni lidi skoro, co hrajou tier 2, tak jsou na pokraji tým lesu.
And that TP into backside from Kayak has gotten them so much space to play with Alpha on the lurk, but he's being caught. Les knows that game. It's not one you're likely to beat him on. Numbers back in favor of the defensive side. And a retake was not even needed yet.
Doba, vole, Legacy, když jsme hráli my a Cent, vole, je pryč, podle mě. Možná v jiných regionech to tak funguje, ale eastovský region, takhle, vole, mazněný roste. Kámo, to je nekonečná hra. Ním reklamu, co bylo za reklamu? Stop the pop?
Oh, over on Fnatic. You have to be worried about the Vents push up now because there is just no information to play with. Chronicle steps out wide, picks one but goes down. TP comes in, used to good effect by Kayak in the clone going through. It confirms that he's here. They start to suspect maybe those rotations have come into play. And so the B site will be a bit more open. They've made the right call.
Boaster má Bčko on
well, he called
lock.
Earlier, let me back on B. And here he is, but he has to hold off against the whole squad. 12 seconds. Plant needs to be connected very soon. That paranoia, perfect from Sivop. That's a double pickup from him with the paranoia alongside his buddies. And now a plant that should be difficult for Fnatic to get back into that jump was hard, and Derka's more than ready for the angle from Crashies. A cleanup
to B main. There's not really been a mass reason to pull those rotations away. Also, someone normally challenges him. So instead, they're going to go walked into a pretty stacked up site. The TP stun is perfect, though. That safe eliminated immediately, but still they have to try and deal with less. This time, he comes up, Trump still sat at the back of the site. A second already dropped, looking for more, but eventually dealt with. And now Derka, the man returning to face his old team, is all that stands. His IGL on the other side, and well, anything you can do, we can do better. Fnatic, they'll pull up in the backside round as well. First fight, but still, Fnatic are able to break through. Another OT. Oh, and Kayak risky position, but one that has a wealth of rewards. A two-piece pickup, and Vitality miles behind in this attack round. Crashies do that before, expecting Derka to try and be cheeky on the cross, and
hlavně jakoby ty Gentlemaids jsou jedna z nejlepších org, co týče prostě managementu a všeho, ale jediný problém je ten, že prostě teď nemají nejlepší roster, co by asi mohli mít, a jsou v píči s tím slotem, když by se něco dojebalo. Jo, klik Kadavra podle mě jsou jako největší adepti na to. Nice, takže jako klika dobrá easy pan. Věřím, že třeba druhá polovina roku už budou v lepší formě než teď, ale teďko ještě potřebuju.
They're going to sell the idea that they're going into the B side. I like the idea. Look at the rotation. That is the full squad going through the spawn. Everybody feeding their way back to B. You've just lost your lurker over on the A side. You see an immediate response over on the B side. You expect that to be the complete commitment.
A ty lidi, co byli, tak jsou pick-upnutí. Turci a Turci neumí anglicky.
Have to take the time to get in, but they'll have a post plant.
Jo, Jose, vlastně, sorry, zapomněl jsem na český jezdce. A ty jsou zrovna v takových orgách, kámo, který... To jsou solid orgy, no, zrovna. Job Life, vole, podle mě a budou bajouty jak zmrt. Já nevím, jak kterým orgám to vadí, no, nějaký velký bajouty, jo.
It's a messy fight, but when he wins,
Co
Derkemu on the other
ti?
side, though.
No, co to je, vlastně nemu tady. Klepe na dveře.
Last big pickup, Kayak's been bailing them out of rounds.
Kámo, to je nekonečná hra, ale...
Crashes has done the same with these A-side holds, but no 3K this time. Sivov is picked off at least.
Nevím, za kterou stranu se jim daří víc těm týpkům, to je furt sem a tam. Ale jako zátek kolo asi lepší než Defense. Furt se neobjednal, by the way, furt mi nejde do takovej hladká, že bych padl.
Vitality of 4 players alive, plenty of time to work with and an op. Not great for a spray transfer, is it?
Bude dlouhá noc.
Minute 10 on the clock. FNATIC showing much more mid presence than most of the rounds, looking to make their way through. But Alpha, this has been the consistent factor. He's been lurking around B main, trying to pressure, trying to
zablokuje, tak si
take
dám
off the angle.
Minecraftové mekáč, kámo, a totálně tady zpracím.
About their attack rounds. When they won attack rounds, he was the focal point. Finding either an opener, picking off less, like winning that battle, as you said, or coming up with 3 or 4 kills.
Uvidíme, co bude Pablo, no. Teďko je stage 1, ne? Teďko to je takovej jako oťukávačka a plus motivačka pro tier 2 chlapy. A tier 2, stage 2 je jakoby, kde se to láme, no. Stage 2 je třeba 3x, 4x důležitější než stage 1. Jo, Pablo, oni chtějí champion pointy, podle mě, no. Počkej, počkej. Not like this. Not like this. My jsme projebali chlapy do píči.
No choice. Derka with the swing could end it all here, and that's exactly what he does. The final dagger in the back from their former squad mate, and it is 18-16. We went the distance here. Vitality 1-0 up going into their own map.
Yeah,
it's Lotus to come up next. We have not witnessed.
Je mi ho líto, jako to taky, no, asi jakože nemůžeme na ně být zase. Jako nemusíme na ně být zlý. Nice, to je dobrý pick. Protože... No, jako nedělá pro to všechno, ale jako určitě to nedělá schválně.
Maybe they would have expected no, Derka is waiting and watching. That now leaves this as quite a one-dimensional take from the side of FNATIC. It seems like there's a decent idea. They're safe. Shrouded out
30 seconds
by that VIT utility means that they might just have an opportunity to try and put the pressure onto Sivov.
Vůbec on furt říká něco o minimardis. On furt říká věci.
And good for the first. That's all he's getting this time. Crashes. Knows there's a fight brewing with Safe, but has to go back to cover the plant. 10 seconds left. And it's time to get that spike on the floor. Derka dropping down's being heard, but there was no chance to stop the defuse, or the plant, I should say. The defuse now certainly coming through. Spoilers ahead. Big flank from Les, and it's good to see he's still got that gameplay up his sleeve, even here on Lotus.
It seems to make very little difference what map or even what I won't. Even if they get stopped here, I won't argue it's down to mental. I think this team has done way too much. I might argue that it's down to Vitality being insane. And while Derka peeking into a position that is being held not only by Chronicle but also by Alfie, and he still manages to quickly deal a death blow. This is going to again cause havoc. It removes that Viper wall that we love to see utilized to take space. Instead, they're just going to do things that a little bit more quickly. Les has now been maneuvered away from the C site because of that aggressive fight that they took. He now supports on A.
Paranoia is going to keep them back a little longer. With that deep information we're talking about for Derka, yeah, they know they're ready for this blitz to come through on the A site. Salvos to slow as soon as the door opens. Whoa, that was almost a big mistake. Pressure on, and Safe knows it. Body's coming around the corner. He's down below in the well. Creeps around the backside as well, barely avoiding Alfier's gaze. And the 2 versus 4, thanks to that shot. Maybe even having a plant in it. Him planting, you're never going to expect Boaster to still be in rubble till they hear his steps. They just heard him running. Derka was well within range, and you can see...
Oh, maybe not.
Maybe not, yeah, must have missed it.
Musí vyhrát ten duel, Alfire, aby mohli vyhrát.
This could even things up if he wins the fight. It's not clean, but he does get the kill. That's all that matters. Puts things back into a 2v2, and they've expected Boaster to run away, to go back to try and join his teammate. The thing is that tap, it forces Alpha's hand, but he still manages to survive. He takes over. 2 off them, well that was one of them. Space being taken. Derka, the first point of contact, was one over face, and actually, Kayak has found 2 with utility and a shot.
Yeah, Les going down to the nade as well as open the site completely for Fnatic.
To je OG Fnaticom vlastně.
Alpha and Crashies could even come out of this round with Bolt online, but wouldn't really need it considering Vitality or...
Hráli všichni. Vymysleli flanky 23, když se jim dařilo.
That may come into play.
Podle mě to je ono, ne?
Decide to go for this.
Ještě Boaster hráli na Astru.
They lose 1 player and it's time to fall back. They see an onslaught of utility and it may just be the same. Salvo's in a pop flash inside the smoke. Kix has got the cover he needs to follow through on that kill without disruption. But when they step a little wider, Kayak and Alpha ready to clean up, all on C-Buff, and no idea that Crashies has wrapped around. What an adjustment! The newcomer down to the last few seconds, but not quite enough. Fnatic to come knocking, and they can make it really costly.
They had way too much space outside of B. I think Fnatic realizing that something's afoot.
Se musíme uznat, že kdyby na tom splitu hráli proti někomu jinému, než Vitality, kam na toru, na ty svině, se to podepsal, že normálně bude hardcore meta. Fakt.
He is dancing around those shots, waiting for them to run out of ammo, and as they retreat and
tak
reload,
mrtvý agent, tak dlouho,
and again, we talk about the crowd control, just running the clock down. He won't get a kill with the showstopper, but he's got the plan.
The worry is that they now need to do something else, because I think the plan was maybe to try and delay with the lockdown. That got removed with the spam, trying to push onto Sivo, and they've done well. The bait into that wrap back around. The thing is though, they didn't actually end up planting. They're now going back over to the A site with the spike, almost trying to sell this ruse, and with the rolling thunder on the other side, safe at Derka. It looks like Fnatic might have overcooked this one a little bit. The spike now has to go back once again, and sure, on a site hold, in a 1 versus 3, it was basically going back to the last map. Crashies managed to thrive. This would have to be the best of them, already giving away his position. Sure, he'll take down Derka, but there was nothing more to be had.
Yeah, the fact that Derka's able to push up behind on C there for free. They've walked straight through the door. They knew he was there, but a little bit too late. Did the pieces connect? And Derka's push up. You lose that fight on A main, you gotta go somewhere else. You gotta take space. For a moment, it looked like they would go walking right into that operator, but instead, the B site is their new target. Alpha, 56 HP. But an ult online if they want to use it. Keep an eye on the gate crash for Derka as well. That's gonna fade out. In fact, just now it disappears. He's now stranded. Starts to back off.
Especially with them around that door to see. He's got to be careful. The timing for save couldn't be worse. 20 seconds. Less. Standing Paranoia will force him out, and he's going to take some damage as he backs away. This will be a post plant. Really something that
Ale jsem neviděl v životě hra Odin. Ty Vop by ho mohl hrát, a nevím, jestli ho hrajem. Maximálně Skype by ho hrál. There's no other choice, you can't get onto that lockdown. Nebo Odin je... Čemu to přirovnal, kámo?
They had to be able to at least trade out the kill, but that'll stop the play completely. FNATIC had the lead moments ago, and they will reclaim it, but they're at each other's throats in the early rounds. It's back and forth, and for Vitality, that's keeping them in with a real shot any game, any day.
Maybe he stood up a little bit too quickly, took half the desk with him.
I've seen those cups, you can hit them and they don't fall over, and it's a miracle FNATIC haven't bought him one yet.
Maybe buy him a few.
Yeah, maybe a few, just in case.
I think most players have like 17 drinks on their desk at once, so...
I've seen people come in with 4 keyboards
Dobře, mají 69.
It's a risky game, and actually, it's a risky game that won Kayak the prize of the majority of his HP being gone. That's the reason they've had to avoid this C site, but it's also a reason that they've been able to challenge quite a lot towards
ten komp, co hrajou Vitality, to je absolutní, vole, meta. Takže absolutní, vole.
Doesn't mean they're going to completely commit.
Hrajou to samý to.
V ITu.
V ITu mají určitě Breach a určitě Yorua, vole. Aj teža, podle mě. Podle to je Karel Gott, kámo, na Vitality tohle. No tam mají Vajsku. No, že líp hraje Vajsku místo Viper.
Cutting off that rotation that they need from the B site. I think he's hearing the turret knowing that he doesn't want to be baiting it. No, it's actually looking the wrong way. He even steps out into heavy traffic knowing he wants to flank up on A. Ingles the Tay-hold, Armageddon. Slowing them down on the A site, drawing them into battles. They step forward on B, they step forward on A, and no ground really taken until now.
A tu ten kor těch tří
smrdečků.
Mají Vitality kolem mě úplně insane.
By the way, at long last, that makes it difficult for Derkemu.
Ale pozor, mi Viper ultíme. Tlačí. To je posun od minulý mapy. A teďka mají counter na Yorovi, ale...
And now for Derka, he's
going
to try and
20
find
něco,
not only the Viper, but some space to play with. Went back, has at least a little bit of extra HP, but that is ticking away. Needs Chronicle to fall, and he finds the headshot, but has to be wary of the player behind. They're constantly changing up.
Infoporty. Co na Abyssu.
So even if you gambled and then you heard them go another way, you might have gambled correct at the beginning, and then you second guess yourself, you get picked apart, and well, they are currently being picked apart. Seaboth. Well, that's not going to plan. Sheriff can be unkind, unfortunately. That is now the spike crossing to the site. Eventually, will get the job done. He's finding one. You can see a slightly safer position being chosen, just to make sure there isn't really a chance, although another pick coming up. This position, though, should be nasty. I don't know how they're making this round competitive. That's a little whiffy, but the job gets done in the end. A 2 versus 2, make that just one Boaster from the flank. I think has done enough Seaboth to try and fight versus the remaining 2, and well, eventually. Really do need something to play with, and FNATIC have been adapting throughout, be it with varying takes, be it with denial of C-site in the last. Now what looks like a much more direct hit in towards this A-site.
Oh, slowed completely, but he's got plenty of time still on that showstopper. Up close, and it's a big hit. Less down, nade, chasing, kicks, and he's in trouble with the C's. Just about staying alive, but look at the reinforcements. They're all coming in. Derka from the back might be able to find value. In fact, he'll be pushed all the way back by Alpha here. While the take is coming into the B site, the space that was given up by Vitality, trying to reinforce the back of A, ends up biting them in the back as FNATIC tap the spike on B and now avoid this walk-up. This could have been disastrous if we saw Derka able to capitalize instead. They make it to the C side, minus Alpha here. Also the latest lurk of all time.
It seemed like they had an idea over on the Vitality side that they might opt to switch back, and yeah, you mentioned it. This is a late rotation coming through, maybe a little bit too late. Boaster needs to hold the line for Chrono to get back in time. Watches. Now knowing his teammates up close, but needing to try and deny if there was someone spamming it.
I mean, Chronicle's
actually managed to find one more, but Kix is still waiting patiently. Chronicle trying to face off versus 2. Needs a little bit more.
Ty jsi mentol tupý, pojebaní. Ty jsi tak tupý.
It takes a lot for Vitality to find this pistol. Could close the
Nic
gap,
special.
or it could make this a real uphill battle. Derka,
Dobré,
not liking the
úplně
ladder.
Derkeho.
To 4.5 in the last map was not enough for Fnatic to take
To je
it
za
over the
angle se
line.
šerifem tohle.
We've mentioned throughout, the Vitality looks so comfortable when it comes to the attack side of Lotus, so much so that a lot of the time we don't get to see much of their defense. Kayak realizing he needs to try and pad the gap after Chronicle is lost immediately. Does a little bit of chip damage, but has to fall off.
Nemá debut, to je druhý zápas, jo.
There are positions that I think players have earned a title for.
Měl dobrý
Whenever
debut.
I think of this C-site, I think of Althea. Without the majority of his utility, an alarm bot and his turret currently watching towards the B site.
Co Melo, že říkali, že měl jeden lepší debutů.
For that man and his pistol.
Ty si, vole,
You might be
dežot.
calling for the orb to go up, but that's not possible with Chronicle down in the dirt. Alphier gonna follow suit, as is Boaster. A convincing set of opening duels for Vitality. It looks like
Ale pozor.
that scoreline is about to get a whole lot closer. Considering half of the rounds come off the back of winning the pistol in the first half, it is certainly a breath of fresh air to see them keep themselves in it after such a close map number 1. We know they've got it in the tank. 5 to 8. It's between an opening pick for Boaster, Vitality being able to approach this late round with their operator still intact. For now, it looks like they will keep it. Oh, I could have spoken too soon. It's on his head.
Don't say it too loud.
Má to je line-up, by the way, ten Boaster, kámo.
Over that white noise, I would be impressed if he can hear anything.
Look at the aggression, though. This is exactly what we need to see. Kayak in a solid position, spike on the deck, retrieving that is not going to be easy, and you can already see the rest of the team are having to try and hightail it back in the other direction. This aggression wasn't spotted out, and Vitality were basically looking for it for the majority of the round. Waiting for some support.
30 seconds left.
Derka's operator will be that first point of contact, looking for the head, but doesn't get anything, and Alfia immediately swings. Les has taken space on B and does manage to win the fight, but they need to get that spike first. Immediately teleporting away, but teleporting straight into the hands of Odin. The spike down, but it was irrelevant.
Could well be.
Karol, já jsem dělal dřív.
Back off. Paranoia used to buy a little
Nevím, o komu jsem to ukradl já. No, to jsem to plně neukradl nikomu, actually. A jsem to ukradl Lakiovi. Asi na Trovi. Ale to prostě už jsem byl přeplay. To začal dělat. Kdykoliv vyjde nějaká nová mapa, tak to dělám vždycky tam, ale prostě. I na aby jsem to dělal v začátku a tam to nebylo tak dobrý, no.
And they're up against it with the operator of Kayak and the utility clearing down below. Safe needs that pick up top.
That's the thing. His position revealed.
Dastíku, ty jsi neviděl žádný Champions.
And unfortunately for him, that's the moment Kayak strikes.
Každý Champions je full house jak Major.
That's another on the board.
A jede, ne? Jak jede furt.
And Chronicle the one to pick up the kill. The spams here from
Fnatic, such
an annoyance for the early rubble control. It's the 9. Vitality move to the B site. Sivov already in, and he's picked off one with kicks following through. That's the site claimed. It's upgrades found in a plant. Not yet they're going into Kayak. This could be a big problem. Where do you go now? The showstopper's on your tail. And that's the spike down and spawn. Last man standing. He's gonna go pushing right into the waiting arms of the off. He survives, but now he's sent forward by the nade. A second bite of the cherry for Kayak. And he does map shields away. Fair enough. Big ult from Derka. Lots of info found. They didn't. I don't think they saw Chronicle. No. No, they didn't.
They definitely didn't. Sivov has teleported into the site. He was frustrated about not receiving info. Now he's not giving it out. He was too busy looking to try.
Jako Fnatic měli nejlepší Lotus 2 roky dozadu s hodin kompem.
In the last round, they targeted Althea. You know that this guy is going to be lurking in that spot.
GG.
And now he's moved up. Buddy, you've got someone literally touching your back right now. Being caught out by the audacity of this Fnatic squad. The TP's not going to work. The Viper's pit integrity is still there. And you can even see the reposition on B. Crashies has taken back control, expecting them to come
ne, kámo, tohle je pískanice.
He's punting. What is that from Chronicle? Just a spam through his own pit. Sivov, good luck, my friend. It's another in-zone flawless. Fnatic as clean as ever to
Odebírali pinky, když týpek je nepotřebuje, vole. Máme tady poslední mapu. FNATIC od FNATIC a FNATIC ukradený Derkem pro Vitality proti sobě Mirror, chápeš?
When it comes to this man,
this is his second, right? He got, was it 38 kills on Haven as a breach? So you guys put him on an ISO. If anything, it should be easier.
45 minimum. Let's set the bar.
Civop dal 38 killů na breachovi na posledním oficiálu.
He's played unbelievable. I think individually this guy is just off the charts. Second only to Zeus in week 1, and a chance to build up those stats again here now in the role where it makes a bit more sense, where that expectation can be put onto Kayak. Nicely done, but anything further will be impossible with Sivov quickly shutting him down. Crashies, the last man standing. 1v3. And already he's going to be caught, suppressed, and taken out by kicks.
And then falling away back towards it. It will hold players there for sure.
There was a moment where it did look like Alphair was going to go towards spawn, fill in the gap on B, but they're relatively confident with leaving C kind of open. And then the B side had 2 players on it. No contact, no moves. Well, okay. Boaster says you can go on over and help out that A site. Kayak's now here, 3 players. Boaster even starts to get an inkling that this could be the A hit, and so he's now ready to pop the paranoia. It's perfect, but Vitality still come ahead. They cannot expect these numbers to still be here. Now they will. Alphair was the one to find a kill with Boaster going down. 12 seconds left. The plant needs to be found. The spike on backside and undeniable. They ran into almost the entire team. A dump of utility and going down in those fights, and it looks like they have picked the easier of the sites to push towards. That's the rifle for FNATIC though, and Chronicle picks up the kill.
So, weapon down.
Strašidelnou mu dal.
Potential to utilize what they've got. Unfortunately, there's no and even utility. You're kind of looking at, you've got the dart back online, a drone. Paranoia would have to be sublimely placed. Kick still has 1 remaining, is wary that they're already coming in from behind. In fact, though, it's going to be that short play, but Sivov again. You talk about this guy already.
To nejde volbejnout ty idioty tupej.
4-0 going into this round, but he's fighting aggressively. He's facing off against opponents. Oh, okay. Kayak eventually gets the job done, but Sivov is just flying. Another added to the tally, another round.
Nejhorší kolo, co ty jsem kdy viděl, kámo. Absolutinu.
A dojebal to. Decoy not going to be working. They know that he's here. They saw the reveal, and yeah, time to get out.
I guess the only.
Sivov hraje od bety. Já proti němu hrál 100 rankedů minimálně. Půl kola jsme hráli proti sobě.
Into the site, he has managed to get Sivov fighting up against Chronicle. Well, he has not been missing so far. Kayak still at the back of the site though, has been able to get one and escapes once again.
Rankedák a pak hrál za mandatory, no.
Seems like he might try something cheeky of his own.
Yeah, he's conscious there's either a player or perhaps even the player he was just hunting down on the other side of the smoke. Doesn't want to emerge from it. Ultimate activated from Kayak. Gonna clear out a lot of space. He didn't clear the corner. But Les doesn't know. He doesn't know. He just knows that that player ran out there. He panics, he pops the cage. Information at least goes their way, and Kayak realizes, hearing the steps, that there's still 1 outside garage. We'll look to crunch on him later. And the push with the smoke up, FNATIC, they stand a decent chance. I love that from Alpha. The wall is going to block them all from spams completely. It's almost fully diffused, but Alpha's been taken off the spike. A second player, Crashies, steps in and he steps out just
not like this.
Sivov with a 3-piece in this round.
Not like this.
Vitality are hammering FNATIC into
the
dirt.
Sivov má 10 fragů už.
For Sivov, and they're not just like your run-of-the-mill eco frags or like picking off players who are already stunned or flashed up. That was integral kills to stop them defusing. He's delivering on the highest level right now. The
conversations we had about Derka and Kayak and the storylines between the two, the pressure on Kayak to fill the boots of Derka, while Derka wants to take his boots back. But really, for someone like Sivov coming into this map up against Alphair on the ISO, one of the best ISOs in the world, you gotta think that even if you can exist in his shadow, that's a success. But right now, he is shining a new light on FNATIC. FNATIC with a decent step up from Kayak. 2-piece already, Les and Derka down and out, but the man who's yet to taste death, Sivov, still alive, and weaker weapons, still what they're working with. Nothing recovered by that defensive side.
both Boaster and Kayak being able to get something, but not able to fall back into things. The shield helping out massively. Hunter's Fury utilized and will pick off Sivov. It's an investment, but that has garnered a reward. And you can see the long run around from Crashies. He's hoping to try and find a weapon on his way back. Or potentially box them in. The rest of the players are going to have to wait to get into position. That time will continue to tick. And that also means that they won't have his utility until he reveals himself.
Very much worthwhile, though, with that smoke put down by Boaster. Cerebral, well, I thought because he could sneak his way through, but the reveal is needed, broken, and some information to work with here. Trade starts out well. Crashies on the recovered rifle, but now he's the last one standing safe, looking to run away. Has Hunter's Fury, if he can get to safe distance to activate. Instead, he's looking for the kill, but Crashies made the read. He suspected that's where safe would take him with enough time to bring this across the line.
Have to wait and see. This attack has been devastating so far.
That's hilarious. The reveal got stuck on the decoy, and because it hasn't got line of sight, you're not getting revealed by it. So he's able to push up on the back of it. But I guess Chronicle wasn't that confused. He's just wall banged Derka straight through the boxes, through the wall there, through two walls. You can see the holes just fading now. Not a bad opener for FNATIC. And they still have that operator of Kayak lurking into the late round.
Looking at the kill contract as well. Potential from Alfia to despite more awkward. Solid work though from Safe.
Solid
the lineup might have been missed once, but the Hunter's Fury will put them back at level peg. And Alfia, in the meantime though, has managed to re-aggress and find less. This puts this into just the players looking to make their way into the B site. There goes that kill contract, looking for the fight, looking to try and take the battle. He will win it at that start. Doesn't mean jack. Like, both of these sides are very comfortable in streaking rounds back together.
9 let? To jste to počítali, vy idioti? Víc.
Dominant for FNATIC. It's been a slower start. That's much better though. Safe already dealt with.
Bylo 9 let jenom. Bylo víc, vole.
Success in their bonus round. Even walking into a stack of players, their execution was
nastoupí do první třídy v 6, ne?
See if they can get anything done here.
Close corner.
A vy idioti. Jak na mě dropl takový slovíčka na vás. Vy idioti. Tupí. Já jsem přestal chodit do školy po základce. Víte, jak to funguje? Nejde nečeká, že se budu zastávat do Mialáži.
Key for Vitality in the late round. Less is lurks. We've talked about them. They've been impactful, and yeah, they're going to clear the standard side. Will they clear the left, though? For now, the answer is no.
Co ti je, jaký timing krásný.
He went to his cam just as Chronicle swung out, and now the ult indeed gives all the info to FNATIC.
No, však to jo, rok jsem to se dalo dělat kdykoliv. Ve 40 lidi dodělávají úplně na chill. Byla dobrá finta z toho rutinou. Boaster si zde stopnul do line-upu, to je tupec. Taký tupec ten Boaster.
Way to start the round.
If he doesn't have that info, it's going to be conversations with Chronicle because it's his trap that's getting dealt with a lot of the rounds. I think even as a cam watching it happen, so he's just going, oh yeah, Boaster, it's great. Yeah, you should hold from there. Yeah, we'll hold it together. I'll swing on your contact, yeah?
To je zase ona hloupá, není důvod, jakoby, proč mu neříct, že si klidně doděláš, chápeš? To jakoby není nic special, nebo to, jako, že to může dodělat za 10 let a jako co, no. Wow. Bude to mít. Wow. Jako já si hloupí s tomu bránit zbytečně, když týpek je na to úchylný, ale... Čau, Biky. Stále uražený. Viděl jsem se včera, si hrál dokonce s 2 bronců, už tam má už ranked, vole. Už se dostáváme pomalu jistě ke 4.
Breaking the shield. That's unfortunate. Oh, for Crashies. Spoke about his individual level looking stellar. I don't know if it's up to this.
Pops the Hunter's Fury and takes down 4.
Je, a prehrál jsem 50 LF. Fakt, já jsem mě jste vyhrali a měl si plus 12. Nemáš tušení, by the way, jak moc se duje ve vašem MMR tuletím. Jakože...
I can't. Some flair to their gameplay right now, and I'll tell you, it can't feel good to see Derka doing that up against you. You know he's having fun, and you want to quickly put that to bed. 2 rounds left in the half.
A doma buchá do stěny tupec. Miky, daj se léčit.
Who steps up to fill the gap? Boaster onto Derka. Kicks.
Já nevím vůbec tu ten komp a tak kom nebo defense, jakoby sidey dole. Nevím, jestli mám ještě jako oslavovat, teda smutný nebo oslavovat dole. Že mají 2 kola. A Toranta postupují 3 týmy a to ještě bude trvat, kámo. To ještě bude trvat.
Using it in this spot is always going to be difficult. Less field dimensional drift thrown in. They're going to have seen the aggression. Boaster can just wait on the other side, and now less. He's got to pull off a miracle. Nice shot for the first. Even trying to wait, so it will be a slight improvement.
They see exactly where that player is. Happy to take the assist. Crashes. Spammed up, and the shock dart finds him.
What the fuck?
Vitality.
They
still have a problem to deal with. Ultimate put through by Alpha here, and he's managed to pull Kicks into a battle for his life. The shots don't land though, and it's Kicks to return safe on the triple. It's enough to put Vitality.
Ona jede do Německa vlakem do školy.
They have been dominant in these early rounds. Only the very first went the way of Fnatic, but they need to try and match up with what will be the
ještě
last
se
one.
zapomněl dropování kódů na výbaky, vole, fanoušikom.
He's already going to open up in the pistol.
On the attack as well. If anywhere you want Alpha here to be confident, I think this half matters the most. Aggression is necessary. You will be the point of the spear. Double tap activated. In goes Kayak first though. He's got the full HP to work with and not anymore.
Dejte hranolky do sáčku, Fnatic, hranolky do sáčku, vole.
And Vitality even find crashes with Seavoff on a huge kill. Fnatic way behind now. This started out with an opening duel and they've got nothing ever since.
Never expected 2 players to be sat behind the door in Garage is such an unusual position to see 2 people stand. Again, in a buy round, you'd probably never do that because of the risks with utility going through, flashes, etc. But in this case, less gambled on it. Boaster trying to bait out,
30 seconds left.
Push through spawn as well. They're hoping to try and find a fight, but the majority of this roster has looked to group up for Vitality. All 4 players wrapping around mid, and the double tap is just a goal to sell the idea that they're on B. Maybe there's a small chance for an isolated fight, but it really comes down to Chronicle here.
Kamo, no spotl.
Did he get seen?
All the way around. No, he's not being seen. Now he has Seavoff picked off and less. Sure.
One way smoke,
that's going to put Boaster in a bit of an awkward spot. They're not going together, despite Kicks being very low. Oh no. Derka swinging alone goes down 2! Boaster with the lifeline for Fnatic. The Red Bull clutch, and he's dropping it back on the stage.
Minus 500, vole.
Garage, even despite that, Derka's not happy with the control. Can't just fight in from a few angles. He wants to open this up a little bit more, but he's fighting into heavy Fnatic territory. Seavoff, the return of perhaps the king, certainly on this server, but he's been put down quickly. Return by Less keeps it doable. Boaster and Chronicle put this to bed though. And Less, despite tapping, he is quickly out of there.
Put some respect.
No real chance to take this across the line. All he wants is the weapon for the next, or perhaps he's got a fight brewing, and now they know right where he is. He'll make it out with 50 HP. It looks like he'll even carry the weapon support. Many players.
Magnum Monster Mini.
This is exactly what you would want once he doesn't take his cam out before the fight. He's ready once these cages drop. The Vandal could catch them off guard, but it doesn't even get a shot fired before Kayak steps up to the plate. A nasty little double, and Derka won't get anything from behind bar the one. It's certainly not enough. Look at that.
That's crazy. Wow, look at the pace.
Entropic, bravo, no comment, a Entropic jako byl good. A byla až po sobě, to byla až po sobě, bere 8.
There's still a minute left on the clock, but are you going to try and find...
A tolik jakože věcí, co si předal, vole, lidem tam. Se smokerama to bylo insane, kamo, úplně nový svět.
For the side of Vitality, something that's been missing in some of these rounds. Their opponents hot on their heels.
Mickey, uvědomuješ si, já jsem měl doslova match MVP poslední hru. I mental slepý.
It was very close. I think it was literally a millimeter off from catching out kicks.
De Radiant radši, kamo.
Even things up. That would have been maybe a controller down on both sides, and this Kicks managed to win the duel. And well, he said it in a previous clip that he's only won it once, so.
Musí dát Radiant, kamo, do Landcraftu.
A stall out from FNATIC, and interestingly, Kayak is so much further forward than anyone else. Still a jump spot from Safe, just trying to get them extra information, but I think he's missed anything that could have been there, and I think realizes it as well, because he's going to fall back to the site instead.
Drone up through A long, that is the spike carrier drone. Exactly, it's a ruse for Chronicle to embed deep into short and play that late flank. He'll get a great opportunity by the looks of things with the cross coming in. And indeed, he catches Derka. Chronicle with a valuable pick for FNATIC. Putting them back into a reasonable position, but it's all falling apart on the site. Interrupts the fallback, and then Seavoth has the door wide open. Steps through the frame. Puts his fist down. FNATIC. They were climbing back into this, but the gap is...
Už vyšel ten rozhovor na Landcraftu, chat? Asi ne, co? Jim psali o nějaký otázky, kam Boaster entry.
The double tap about to fade. Alpha, he's not getting greedy. He doesn't swing in as many a player would, and it might have been a mistake with kicks so close. Hunter's Fury, blindly thrown in, cancelled. With one more burst. Safe was trying to bait anybody that might have lurked up short. He's still scarred from that lurk from Chronicle in the previous round.
Oh, nice. Okay. He's had the read. Drone goes out, but it doesn't give him much more information. When you have a Yoru pushing a spot on the map, it can very easily be a fake. And that's so unfortunate. I think he's just teleported away, so waiting to try and catch someone with that kill contract, and there will be nobody even remotely close to that position. FNATIC have tried that bait, succeeded, and now head into just one man. That man will be less.
Luckily for Seavoth, he had the trigger discipline to not just fire the ult through into empty space.
Boaster, kamo, je nejlepší hráč na planetě. Bez sheetu.
Seavoth gets another shot, double tap.
No máš sheet?
Nemyslím, že sheet. Asi je to jedno. Ready to brawl. FNATIC have their work cut out for them. At 2 versus 3.
Bejči,
Happy to
kamo.
run that clock down a little lower, but the plant very much needed by this squad now. 10 seconds. They know that someone has to plant, and when they do, they're removed from the fight. But they'll do
paranoia, ty vole!
Taking the fight to the back side.
Ruse in towards the A side. Of course, the majority can just leave, and they have fallen hook, line, and sinker for this one. Only one standing. It will be less. Might be able to try and hit the timing at least on one of the players.
Tohle ten byl klíčový, kam šel jako na výlet. Tam šel na výlet.
5 versus 4. Dimensional drift immediately used for Derka to try and clear some of these angles, knowing there's a player on site. Alpha going to drop another teammate though, and this is looking incredibly problematic.
Big plays needed on the site, and it's Alpha
Jaký angle našel Alpha Žer?
To find the value. Seavoth
to byl jejich smoke, to byl Ostrov smoke, to je zajímavý. Počkej.
They've even got the side angle covered, the swing out though.
Zkusili.
Instantly deals with him.
See?
We have seen the depth that this roster can bring, and on the other side of things, Dirk's been trying to pad the gap, but that's now a whole lot of aggression. 3 rounds in a row with a mid push, punished to
Dirk to ztratil totál už, podle mě.
And in this case, trying to literally put the world on his shoulders. The problem is he's got that rifle, but if you don't teleport out of there, there is no real way to retreat. FNATIC just hold onto that ground. I think they will onto safe. So they're just pausing again. This spot could be dangerous.
To byl strašně špatný clear, ty vole. Zastavil na půlce anglu. Boss.
Spike still very far away. That's time running off the clock, and Chronicle wants to make up for it with space. It's dangerous against a weaker buy like this. That's a big mistake. Even the Tracer's easy to follow back on, but Sevov steps in to take the pick. An immediate response to Boaster and Kayak, cleaning this up before it gets too dangerous. Les lurking inside the smokes, and he steps out. The Kayak waiting. 11 rounds for FNATIC. And what could be a push that's made up for the gap that was created. But they're watching it. Kayak, eyes in the back of his head, and Boaster onto Sevov, the big player for Vitality, put to bed early.
And they immediately looked
super
seeing enough for them to know that this could be a ruse. They're trying to run the steps over to A, make them commit in this direction. Look at them running all the way down as if this is the play. It really does seem like a Boaster masterclass in so many of these rounds, just baiting their opponents, baiting the leaders of the Vitality squad to believe that this is going to be an A commitment. Instead, now those two players who've solved the ruse look to run back, and they're still waiting for less. They're waiting for a flank on a side they never even took.
Unbelievable. You come into a round after a timeout knowing, boys, this is where we have to stop them. That was the idea from Vitality, but look at how it's fallen apart. They won't even come close to the site where the spike is planted. Not even close to be. Up in heaven, they sit and wait for this round come to a close. And even then, they don't get to sit safely for long. Alphayer is here. He's looking to make it more costly.
Co ti jebe, to se mi to mohlo být 2-0 už dávno. Co ti jebe, oni nesavnou nic. Oni mají hovno teďko.
I think back to Lotus, the consistent switch-ups, redirects and bamboozles and well.
Co ti jebe, ten Derke je tak strašně...
Again, that's the second time. He's just been matched pound for pound. That was literally the flank last time coming up, and then he purchased an outlaw.
Hlavě, kámo, podle mě jako ve svojí hlavě totál, ale on jenom furt všechno píkuje, kámo. On nedokáže sedět na místě, ale...
You see all this money for FNATIC and Vitality. Okay, guys, we can get utility and get some decent weapons. Take the half shields.
Kdo?
And then the first pick goes to an outlaw, and you're like, uh-oh.
Jo, ten Derke. Chtěl zkusit headshot tím.
Sevov needs to try and win this battle. It's him versus Chronicle, and it's Messi. And he knows it as well. That might be the beginning of the end.
Ten byl frustrovaný hodně. Prohraná ultina, kámo, se štítem. Messi napojil prej ještě. A teď prohraju znova, čum. Prohraju znova, no. Easy. Cut the tape. Cut the tape. Oh. Tak to byl crazy comeback, kámo. Taky malinký crashy.